Good afternoon. We're at the Next Web with John Collison, co-founder of Stripe. How are you enjoying the Next Web so far?
I mean, it's fabulous. It's a great conference, but also we're in Amsterdam. Who couldn't like it?
What do you like about it?
Well, the weather is amazing, and I really like cycling, and the city is absolutely chock full of bicycles. Again, just look at it. So.
Okay, enough chit chat. Let's talk about Stripe, the company you co-founded in 2010, right?
Yes.
For the viewers that don't know Stripe, there may be a few left. What is it exactly?
Sure. We're a payments platform for internet businesses, and so brand new startups, very large companies, public companies like Facebook and Salesforce and Booking.com, a local Amsterdam company, people like this will use us for accepting payments from their customers digitally. And long term, what we're really interested in as well is growing the internet economy, because we think the internet economy is very small compared to what it'll be over time.
So since 2010 you started it with your brother Patrick. It has grown to an international business with I think 1,000 people, right?
That's correct.
What has changed in your role as an entrepreneur? In short?
So there are some things that change and some things that stay the same, right? What changes is basically what you do day to day. And so in the very beginning of Stripe, I started as a programmer. That was how we got the idea for Stripe. Was we had been programmers building an internet business, and the most painful part of building an internet business was dealing with the payments. And so that is how we got going on Stripe. So Patrick and I started building the first version of Stripe, and now, well, luckily, we have people who are much better at that than we are. And so the day-to-day changes. What doesn't change is the core ideas of what makes the product good. And so ever since the early days, we have been very obsessed about the users of Stripe, and in the beginning this was 1 and 2 and 4 and growing a little bit. Now it's hundreds of thousands of businesses that are building on the platform, and you need to obsess about them at a different scale. When you're a larger company, you can't meet every single one every day, but the core values about what makes the company tick, a real focus on users, a real focus on global commerce, and this idea that internet businesses are different from the old-fashioned businesses that came before them. Those stay the same regardless of the stage that you're at.
Okay, so last year you opened up shop in the Netherlands, an office in TQ Amsterdam, of course. How is it going so far?
It's fabulous, honestly. Again, I've been to Amsterdam a whole bunch of times since we opened. Always for work. I still haven't managed to come to Amsterdam for fun, and so I need to rent a bicycle and go around. But we've seen really strong traction with the Dutch scene, both from established companies, again, with companies like Booking.com and Katowiki and people like that, but also companies at an earlier stage in their cycle, but it's still very fast growing, like Binder, who grew from 5 people to 250 people in the course of 2 years. I mean, it's an incredible success story. We transfer 40 million people using the product. People like.
Are you proud that you captured those type of clients now instead of, for example, a competitor like Adyen?
Well, I think it's a reflection of the product in that these companies are going to pick whatever product suits their needs best, and we're very focused at Stripe on global businesses selling around the world, and also platform economy or marketplace type businesses where payments traditionally have been much more complex than the traditional e-commerce use case. I think that's reflected in how people are using the product.
Okay. So in your talk earlier today, you mentioned the internet started as a decentralized place, but now it's being dominated by big few companies. How do you plan to tackle this, and why is this a problem in the first place?
I think it's a problem in any industry if you end up with too much consolidation and the entire industry being dominated by a small number of players, because you get less innovation, right? Large companies will naturally, they will be more change averse, they will invent new things at a slower rate than the ecosystem as a whole. And so you really want to keep a good playing field of opportunity for new companies to come along. And obviously this is something that we obsess over at Stripe, because this powers our business. When people build new businesses on the Stripe platform, if they're successful, we're successful. We don't charge money for a registration fee when you come along to Stripe or to open an account or anything like this. We only make money on the revenue of a business, and so the businesses need to be successful for our business to work well.
So growing the online economy, right?
Exactly.
One of the things that might be, making that more difficult is Happy 25th of May, the Happy GDPR-day, as you called it. It's a strict set of rules concerning privacy. Now, Stripe probably deals very well with that as a bigger company, but how do you think that impacts the smaller entrepreneurs?
I think we have to be careful in all the work we do concerning the internet and internet policy to make sure that we're not disadvantaging startups and disadvantaging small businesses. So as you say, large companies like Stripe, we have, the legal teams and we have people who can take care of this. I talked to a smaller company today who said that of their engineering team, 75% of the time this year was spent on GDPR. Now, obviously, that's a once-off thing. Hopefully it won't, be an ongoing thing. But again, I think we have to make sure that it is easy for new companies to come along and participate in the ecosystem, and that we're not disadvantaging small companies over large companies.
Okay, final question. You recently announced a cooperation with Microsoft in where you can pay through your inbox. Is that right? How does this work?
Yeah, so Microsoft is obviously an incredibly successful company in terms of the penetration of Office, especially among enterprise people. Like maybe in the startup world, you're not running on Outlook, but it's a phenomenally successful product in the enterprise world. And so it's a very nice product collaboration between Microsoft and Stripe, where traditionally there's so much paperwork, so much process involved in dealing with an invoice. I think you can make a really nice product experience where it's just taken care of as soon as the invoice comes in via email, and that's what we worked on with Microsoft. And so I'm really happy with the result, where we ended up with a really nice product outcome by the two companies working closely together.
So you see email becoming the new branch of e-commerce, perhaps?
Well, I think email is already very established. Email is already very widely used for invoicing.
Paying an email.
Well, think how many invoices are already sent via email today. This is not a new behavior. This is something that already happens. But what happens today is there's too much friction, and we want to get rid of that friction.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy your stay.
Thank you.